Boston Celtics rumors have been running rampant as the team searches for a big wing to add for their bench unit, but could they already have that big wing in Oshae Brissett? He's had some big-time moments for the Celtics in recent games, and could he be that last piece for this championship push? We'll also explore how Jaylen Brown is being absolutely disrespected by Bleacher Report, as they say he can be the 4th or 5th best Celtic on this roster. All of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. But before we dive into this Celtics content, I would like to say that roughly right around 80% of our viewers are not subscribed, and would greatly appreciate if you guys use that big old red subscribe button and join the Celtics Digest family. We're getting closer and closer to our goal of 3,000 subscribers, and if you want to make sure you stay up to date on daily Boston Celtics content, hit that subscribe button, as you definitely will not regret it. But let's dive into the news at hand today, so make sure to grab a snack, as today's episode is going to be a jam-packed one as we dive into some impactful topics revolving around the Boston Celtics. The first one that we're going to be tackling is Oshae Brissett, hidden gem. And Oshae Brissett has been a big piece for this Celtics team this season. Right around a couple weeks ago, Brad Stevens came out and said that the Celtics will be pursuing a big-time wing addition for their bench unit, and it could be internal, but it could be external. Celtics possibly rumored to use that 6.2 Grant Williams TPE to go out and get a big wing, but in recent games, Oshae Brissett has been that hidden gem for the Boston Celtics to step up. With Kristaps, Porzingis, and Al Horford having to deal with some rest issues, and Luke Kornet having to deal with an adductor strain for the last couple games, Oshae Brissett has been a valuable piece for this team, and we're going to be breaking down how impactful he's been for this Celtics roster. We want to look at this article. We can break down Oshae Brissett on Brad Stevens' big wing comments giving away cameras on MLK Day. And in this article, Oshae Brissett heard about Celtics' search for a big wing before the trade deadline, and Brad Stevens' most direct pronouncement about what the team will consider in the coming weeks before the trade deadline was that he stressed that a big wing could be already on the roster. Sam Hauser has been a nice wing for the Boston Celtics who's kind of grown, and Oshae Brissett has kind of done that in this way. But Oshae Brissett had to say about this. It hasn't been like, oh, this is the guy, this is the one we're looking for, guys. We need someone to step up, Brissett said. It has never been like that. Every day we come in with a different game plan for a different team, and we focus on that plan. Whatever Joe wants to put out there, whatever he feels like is going to help us win, everybody has to be okay with that, and we don't go out there and we play our best game. This makes sense from the Boston Celtics standpoint as a fan, because we've seen so many different guys come off as the first guy off the bench. We've seen Brissett do it. We've seen Banton do it. We've obviously seen Horford and Hauser do it as they're the most comfortable guys. But a different guy has come off for the bench every single night for the Celtics this season just because of a different type of matchup. Maybe one of their guards is going off really good, so they want to put Banton in to kind of disrupt them. Or maybe they're getting a lot of defensive rebounds, so they put Oshae Brissett in to bring in some energy, to bring some force to get those offensive rebounds. I personally have been a huge fan of Oshae Brissett since Syracuse, and I was very, very happy when he signed with the Celtics team, as I felt like he could be, kind of a Grant Williams-esque replacement, kind of like a Jordan Walsh. I thought him and Jordan Walsh would be fighting more over minutes, but with Jordan Walsh being in the G League this season, Oshae Brissett has kind of been able to hold that role by himself alongside with Lamar Stevens, but I think he's a little bit better than Lamar Stevens on the energy and finishing around the rim. We want to keep looking at this article. Brissett and Svi Mykhailiuk have been getting a lot of more run in the Celtics' recent past schedule. Like I mentioned, with Horford having to rest on back-to-backs, Kristaps Porzingis nurturing that calf injury, and Luke Kornet also injuring himself a little bit, Brissett has been able to get a little bit more of run. And in those runs, to start off that run, he wasn't too hot, to be honest. In the first 4 games with his second rotation, he was shooting 3 for 18 from the field and 1 for 9 from 3 in those first 4 games. Therefore, he got a little bit of a bench, didn't really play that much for the Celtics, racking up 13 DNPs over the following 17 games. But when Luke Kornet suffered an injury in pre-game layups to the Orlando Magic, and with neemias Queta being out for the Celtics, Brissett had to step up, scoring 11 points in 15 minutes, hitting a big-time 3, and that was really, really impactful for his game. Kind of brought some life back into Oshae Brissett and kind of revitalized his game for this Celtics bench unit and kind of revitalizing who he wanted to be for the Celtics team. When Oshae Brissett had to say about the trade deadline, he says, whatever happens is out of my control. It's out of everyone here's in control. Just got to go out there and do what you do. I've had the opportunity to play. I've had the opportunity to show what I can do, and I feel like I do a good job with that. But again, whatever happens, happens. I always just appreciate the opportunity to be here in the NBA, especially on a team like this. And thank you so much for that, Oshae Brissett, because if you do eventually get moved on in the trade deadline, which I don't believe he will, it will be a nice run for him to, kind of go on a new team, and he would have a nice impact on the Celtics role for what he had. But if he does get to stay with the Celtics long term, I like this mentality that he's buying in with, kind of going with, it's a business, I understand that. He's not a big-time role player, so he knows that if his role gets replaced or if he has to be on a different team for the Celtics roster, he understands why that is. But I think he's earned himself a big enough role for the Celtics team in the recent games, as he's been a huge contributor for this Celtics team. He was also asked about his opportunity to help out in the community on MLK Day, handing out things to children, and he said, it was cool. I feel like anytime I have a chance to put my name out there in the community and let them know we're regular people and we have fun and we have hobbies just like them, I always enjoy stuff like that. That's why I've kind of wanted to go to one of the camera route and talk to them about the stuff that I do off the court and just bring them there. I think that was really the whole message, especially behind Martin Luther King and everything that he's done, which is inclusivity and bringing everybody together. So that's kind of where my head was when I went with this event. But it was great. And he was talking about how he did a community event, giving out cameras and talking about Brizzy Files. If you guys don't know, Oshae Brissett has his own personal videography stuff where he does his own vlogs and traveling and stuff like that. It's a really cool YouTube channel, Brizzy Files TV. If you guys aren't subscribed, that is something you definitely should check out. But Oshae Brissett, like I mentioned, has been this nice wing for this Celtics bench unit. And like he said on Saturday in a blowout win versus the Rockets, he got a chase down alley-oop from Payton Pritchard off the glass. And he said, I actually ran my blank off to catch that, Brissett joked. Pritchard's just fast, but I watched the video and it looked good. So get the crowd hype. We like doing that. And that is very true. Oshae Brissett did do that with the Boston Celtics when in last game versus the Houston Rockets, had that nice alley-oop and was a big X factor. I think he could be a fan favorite in this culture. And let me know what you guys think on your personal opinions on Oshae Brissett. Should the Celtics keep him long term? But let's dive into the other news, which is Jaylen Brown getting absolutely disrespected by Bleacher Report. And I'm absolutely furious about this because I saw this report and wow, it is crazy. So first, before we dive in, we're going to look at and see this Bleacher Report article where they ranked every team throughout the season so far. This article came out yesterday, and the Celtics received an A. Now, obviously, preseason over-under was 54 wins. Their win pace is 63, and their progress report is an A. Obviously, they're a top team. They're one of the best teams in the NBA, best team in the Eastern Conference, and this is what they had to say on Bleacher Report. It's hard to imagine these things get much better for the Boston Celtics, who are top 5 in both points per 100 possessions and points allowed. And as he's packed with absurd individual performances, Jayson Tatum is still playing like a top 10-ish player, and he's surrounded by the best and best-fitting supporting cast of his career. If defense was given a little more consideration, Derrick White would give it a real shot to make the All-Star team, and he might still get in with the coach's vote. Along with Jrue Holiday, he gives the Boston's league's best defensive backcourt. Kristaps Porzingis isn't shooting the three well, but his defense post-game and the fact that defense at least have to pay attention to him outside has opened up the floor for Tatum and the guards. Put in this way, when Jaylen Brown, who's averaging 23.1 points, is your 4th or 5th best player, you're doing pretty well. Add Hal Horford to the mix, and you got one of the season's most common refrains among analysts. The Celtics have the NBA's best top 6, but even they might not be doing them justice anymore. Payton Pritchard has been one of the best games, steadier hand backups, and Hauser's three-point shooting is legitimately game-changing. At this moment, it's hard to argue any 8-man rotation could look better. And I agree with that. Thank you for giving all of our guys our props. Obviously, I believe Derrick White's an all-star. I think he has the best ability to play offensively and defensively. He's the most consistent Boston Celtic. JT, like they said in the article, playing like a top 10 player for this Celtics team, even with all this all-star cast. Kristaps Porzingis shooting a little worse from 3, but dominant in the post and being an effective three-point shooter and being able to drag out those guys. Spaces out the floor for the Celtics, like they mentioned. Jrue Holiday, fantastic game for the Raptors last night, but also just fantastic on both sides of the ball, helping out defensively. A little bit of a shot chuck on the offensive side, but it's him getting comfortable with the shots and finding his rhythm. But absolutely disrespecting Jaylen Brown, calling him the 4th or 5th best player on the Celtics team is absolutely ridiculous. Now, obviously, Jayson Tatum, best Celtic on this team, hands down, most consistent. But if you're going to tell me that the highest paid Celtic is the 4th or 5th best Celtic, you are crazy. Jaylen Brown has been having a fantastic season for this Celtics team. We want to look at Jaylen Brown's stats. You guys can see this is all the team stats combined. Jaylen Brown putting up 23.4 points, 5.3 total rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1.1 steal on 0.6 blocks with an assist turnover ratio of 1.3. That is absolutely ridiculous. And obviously, guys like Derrick White, guys like Jrue Holiday, guys like Kristaps Porzingis have stepped up for the Boston Celtics this season. But I still believe that Jaylen Brown is that second or third guy on this Celtics team any given night. Obviously, Jayson Tatum, the main prolific guy, the superstar, but Jaylen Brown is right up there, making the All-NBA team last year, proving to be a great defensive player in this big stretch so far for the Celtics this season. Ever since he's spoken up in December, he's been playing even better, more consistently, attacking the rim, being a dominant player. His threes are starting to fall more consistently now for the Celtics, and it is just looking like a great season. Everybody likes to hate on Jaylen Brown. Everybody likes to disrespect Jaylen Brown, always hating on him, but I truly believe on most nights he's the second or third best player, and on some nights he's the best player. Nights where Tatum goes cold from three, Jaylen Brown attacks the rim and dominates, putting up 20 to 25 points on ease. Guys like Kristaps Porzingis have struggled from the three-point range. Yes, they have been impactful on defense and down low, but some nights if their 3 points not going down, Kristaps Porzingis is just a distraction. He's just a spacer for this team and a rim protector. Derrick White and Jrue Holiday have had impactful games and been very consistent on both sides of the floor, but Jrue Holiday's role on offense has gone down significantly since he's been on the Boston Celtics, and Derrick White had a really, really hot start of the season shooting, but then has been kind of inconsistent over the last couple weeks and is starting to blossom up a little bit more. Jaylen Brown has been so impactful for the Celtics team, and he always gets hated on, and I hate to see that hate. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Where would you rate Jaylen Brown on this roster? Personally, I'm going to rate him second or third on any given night. I would say him, Kristaps Porzingis, or Derrick White on any night is the Celtics' second best player, but on most nights, Jaylen Brown is the second or third best player on the Celtics. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode where we broke down Oshae Brissett being a hidden gem and Jaylen Brown being absolutely disrespected. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.